Cardinal Nation, what's happening? Listen, I want to thank you for tuning in for another amazing episode of the Cardinal Call podcast. Before we get started today, I want you to go out there and like, subscribe, and comment on any of our social media platforms, whether that be Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you can find the Cardinal Call podcast. Go ahead and give us a shout out, and I promise you we'll hit you back. Listen, you know how we do around here. This is the one and the only classroom podcast that has been specifically designed to interview industry and leaders across the nation so that we can gain their insight, their golden nuggets, so that I and we can help take your leadership and your learning to the next level. That's right, immediately. As I always do, let me start off with a great quote today. This quote comes from R. Collier. He states, "Success is the sum of small efforts repeated." That's it. Success is doing the little things over and over and over and over and over. And even when you get tired, you keep doing them over and over again. So let's join me all month as we talk with some amazing guests who will help you find success to do those little things over and over and over again. They'll give you those what? Those golden nuggets. Listen, this is what I want you to do. You hear me say it lots, and matter of fact, you hear me say it every episode. So that's what I want you to do now. I want you to go get your pens, your pencils, your notepads, your memo boards, whatever it is that you take notes with as we head into the classroom to learn from today's guests, because they're going to give you some golden nuggets where you will be able to find success as a leader in your industry and in your learning. I promise you, this guest is amazing. Go get your stuff and meet me in the classroom. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, Cardinal Nation. We thank you for tuning in for today's Cardinal Call podcast. Listen, typically on the podcast, we do something where we go get some of our great, illustrious, notable alumni, but for inclusive purposes, because this is all about being an inclusive podcast. We want everyone to have a voice on this podcast. We've done something a little different. We went fishing in a different pond this week, and we found a student who was willing to be on the podcast. Listen, Cardinal Nation, take it easy on her. She's never been on a podcast before that I'm aware of. So, Valissa, your name is on the screen. Valissa White, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
You seem a little nervous. Are you okay?
I am good. Thank you.
All right. Well, you know, here on the Cardinal Call podcast, we like to jump right into the deep end of the pool, head first, no questions asked. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Listen, you are a student, so answer these as a student, and I think you'll be fine. I think this podcast is just what you need to relax to get through, you know, these next few weeks and head into the holiday season.
All right, let's go.
All right, here we go. All right, Valissa. Valissa's a mom, by the way, everybody. I want everybody to know this, too. Valissa's a mom. She's a great student in the OLO program. She's a great ambassador, a wonderful worker. She's a great person. So, Valissa, knowing all that, you got mom behind you, you got student behind you, you got life behind you. How is it that you define leadership?
My definition of leadership, I would say, is inspiring and motivating a team, reaching and achieving common goals.
Okay, inspiring and motivating a team to achieve or reach a goal?
Yes.
Okay. I like that. That's kind of in the ballpark of kind of where we are now. We've interviewed about 30 people, give or take, 2 or 3. And they kind of always said the same thing. But let me ask you this, right? We've asked you how you define leadership, right? And that's cool. That's great. That's wonderful. It's about inspiration. It's about motivation. Tell us a little bit how you define this thing called a team.
Team, I would say, is team definitely needs to be one that is trustworthy, one that leads with vision, and one that comes together, that, you know, they all come together to work together. You know what I mean? I think it definitely takes that trust and people that are committed to like work together to reach that common goal. Like, it is really hard to have people who can, come together that, I guess what I'm trying to say is it just takes a really good team, really good people who are
Right.
compassionate, to come together to just, reach certain goals together.
So you mentioned some keywords there. You talked about trust, right? You talked about
Yes.
compassion, and you talked about coming together.
Yes.
So in your existence, in your time, right? How many teams would you say that you've been a good, bad, or indifferent, right? How many teams do you think you've been a part of, uh, in your lifespan?
Several teams.
Several. Were the good experiences, bad experiences,
Um,
both all together?
Definitely both.
Okay.
More bad experiences than good.
Mm. What was so on these teams? Okay, I'm going back to your definition now of inspiring, motivating. Was the leader of those teams, good, bad, or indifferent? Where that was the leader of that team, right? Whoever was leading those teams,
Hmm.
would you consider them to be inspirational? Would you consider them to be, even if it was a bad experience, like they had to kind of, unfortunately, they just inspired people to move in a negative way, or maybe they've inspired them or motivated them in a negative stance. But would you still stick with that even in your bad experience on the team?
I would not. I would say in
Okay.
my prior work history, I have experienced toxic environments.
Mm.
And because of this is why I value going forward these type of certain things that I am looking for in my next organization that I work in the workforce,
Mm-hmm.
because of those toxic environments. I definitely feel that these certain, like culture, the environment,
Yeah.
these teams, like these certain things with the teams, like that's very, very important for me going forward into the workforce. So that's why I do feel that is of importance. And that's why I define inspiring and motivating for these teams.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So let's talk about you a little bit, right? Let's talk about this. What is your leadership style?
My leadership style is authentic leadership
Mm-hmm.
because I value leading with humbleness, heart, passion, and integrity.
Humble, heart, passion, and integrity.
Hmm.
That's a lot to live up to. That's a
It
lot to live up to.
is. It
And all
is.
that, and all that is how you were saying that's how you're going to define authentic leadership.
Yes.
And that's your style.
Yes.
You look like you're thinking about that.
I mean, it's very hard, but it's a learning process.
Mm-hmm.
And because of those experiences, like I said, my best experience is being in the environment with my education. Like I've
Right.
learned all of this of what I'm looking for in the workforce through my educational environment,
Wow.
and it's what has made, you know, this eye opening to what leadership really is to me, because in
Mm-hmm.
my prior work history I thought that's what leadership was all about, is what I was being exposed to.
Right.
No, that's not what leadership was all about. That's working in toxic environments, learning from, it was just some situations, I was in, I learned
Mm-hmm.
from it. I got exposed to a new environment, and I really got to really see what leadership was about being in the OLL program at the University of Louisville.
I love it. I love it. Shout out to all my colleagues, comrades, and staffers in the OLO program at the one and the only, the illustrious University of Louisville. But enough of that. Back to the podcast at hand, right? Coming back to your leadership, let me ask you this question right here, because I think this is very good, because it kind of formulates a lot of things. So you mentioned a little bit about inspiration. You mentioned a little bit about motivating that team from how you define leadership, but who do you think best exemplifies your definition?
Okay, this is going to be very personal for me.
Okay.
I feel that, this definition of leadership, I feel that Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
is that person to me, because I just know that my imperfections are unique to him, even
Mm-hmm.
though that they may not have always been intentionally good or perfect. However, those imperfections, those mistakes maybe that I made in life are used and turned into good, so that he will get the glory for that. Because isn't that why it's called mistakes? It's a lesson learned, right? So that's the beauty of learning. So, like, no matter how bad it looks, it always turns out for your good. So, like, the truth is, like, he can only judge you, right? So
Right.
his leadership was the opposite of what others felt he should have done. So, for example, when I mean by others, I'm meaning higher authority. I'm
Mm-hmm.
meaning priests, those type of people. So, for example, he did not judge the poor or the sinner, but he showed compassion and love. And in this way, it shows the trueness to the heart, the
Mm-hmm.
passion, the humbleness, and the integrity that this man led with. So, this exemplifies my definition of leadership. So, in my experiences, I have learned from this because I am human and I have failed.
Mm-hmm.
So, however, the great learning experience is for myself to own up to my mistakes and
Mm-hmm.
to learn by practicing going forward with better intentions and better behavior.
Well, I don't know if I should end the podcast or pass the offering tray because clearly you preached a wonderful message right there. But you may mention to something that I want to take I want to spend just a second on. You said that a mistake is a lesson learned. Um, so in leadership, right, we understand
Mm-hmm.
that there probably will be plenty of teachable moments, and you hope that obviously if you're leading people, especially in the workplace environment, as you alluded to a little bit, you hope that someone doesn't make a mistake so egregious that you have to terminate them. But even in
Right.
sometimes in termination, that is a lesson learned. Like, hey, when you're in the workplace, you can't do that. But when it comes to life, because you mentioned a little bit of life and some mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
how would you say, or how would you lead someone who may be too hard on themselves when they make mistakes, right? They have this high standard of maybe perfection, and we know that's very hard to reach. But you know what I mean? And it's like, oh, every time you make a mistake, it's like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. Oh, maybe I should quit. Oh, you know what I mean? How do you think, or how would you handle, or how would you lead someone who's very hard on themselves when they make mistakes?
Well, I am a perfect example of that.
Mm,
And in my experiences,
mhm,
I have been, in my life, I've had a lot of things that I've been through to where, I've went through so many things to where I felt that I had to be perfect. So
mm,
going throughout my journey, whether personal or, professionally, I feel that I have to have, like I feel that I have to be self-satisfied. If I do, I have to always be perfect in everything I do, or try to do the best I can in everything I do. I feel that in some cases, like for example, I have these leadership classes that I just absolutely love in the OL program, but there's a D2 class that I had to take, which was a
mhm,
Latin America class. I'm not fond, a person who loves history, so, and I'm just being honest, so with this class, which is a Latin America class, it was very challenging for me. It was very hard because I felt that I could not comprehend to the
mhm,
content of what was being taught in the course. However, I've learned to just accept me for who I am,
right.
and learn to accept that the best is, just do the best that you can. And throughout this journey, I have done the best that I can. And even my best, I have been so surprised at how great I have done in this class. And by
Mhm,
giving my best, I have actually exceeded in this class better than what I thought that I could have. So, like I said, just do the best that you can and accept your imperfections and just be the best that you can.
Okay, I like it. I like it. I remember, I can't remember who made the quote, man, and that it's going to bug me. It's going to irritate me. However, the quote was, um, or something along the lines of, he said, "All you can do is all you can do, and
Yeah.
you just got to know that all you can do, it's enough, right?
It's a must.
Yeah, all you can do is all you can do, right? If you don't, you can just do the best you can in that class, right? Because
Right.
typically you're not a history person, probably not going to go out and try to be a historian once you leave the class anyway. So I'm just going to
Right.
give the best I got with the information in this book, and that's it, right?
Right.
Let it be and move on. Let me ask you this question. This is my last question on leadership. What motivates or inspires you to be great?
I'm gonna tell you something. People will say, you said what motivates me or inspires me to be great.
Yeah,
I would say definitely this is really weird for me, but I'm so a different person. Challenges have really motivated me, inspired me to be great. Challenges seem to give me, like I say, some deep self-satisfaction, because I feel like when the world, or growing up, people tell you that you can't do something, or because of your circumstances or your background, or just because of who you are, that you can't, you can't do this or you can't do that. Just having those challenges or going through whatever you go through, to be able to rise against or above what people say, it just feels so self-satisfying. So I definitely am motivated by those challenges. However, there are some people who motivate me and inspire me to be great. And I would definitely say there's some gospel singers that I love. Mary Mary, there's a song that they sang that has inspired me and motivated me through my whole entire life, and it's called Go Get It. And also this other lady named I can't really say her name 100% right, but Corin Haythorn, and her song is called Unstoppable.
Yeah. I think it's Corn Hawthorne.
Corn Hawthorne. Okay. I'm not sure if I was saying that 100% right, but yes, they are great motivational and inspiring people through their music, and I really enjoy that.
Well, listen, let me tell you something. Typically, right, most people give us a very unique answer for what is leadership, right? They give, and I'm like, oh man, that's so unique. No one's ever said that before, right? Like, oh, let me write that down, put that in the annals of the book, right? It took you, dog, to this question right here, because I'm gonna tell you right now, most people that we've interviewed, when we say what motivates or inspires you to be great, it's like somebody they know, it's a person, whatever. You said challenges. That puts you in a league of your own. One right there. No one, you get the Golden Nugget Award right there. Challenges inspire you. And then you went with the singers, gospel singers to be exact. So no one has ever used challenges and then coupled it with gospel singers to answer that question. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. The first golden nugget. Don't be scared to let challenges inspire you to be great. And two, don't let your music inspire you. Maybe country music, maybe gospel, maybe rock and roll, hip hop, whatever it is. There's nothing wrong with finding something that inspires you to keep getting up every day and going after your greatness. All right. Let's transition just a little bit, just a smidgen, right? So we've talked about your leadership. We know exactly that it's going to come down to inspiring and motivating whatever team you're leading or you're on. And if that leader needs to be, he or she needs to inspire and motivate you to get the best out of you, and probably challenge you somewhere along the way, just so you feel like you're a part of that team. But let me ask you this question as we segue into learning a little bit. So we talked about leadership. Let's go into learning. So what do you think is the best way to assess learning in either an academic or corporate setting? How do you know, like as for me, right, as a professor, I love watching the light bulb goes off and be like, oh, I got it finally, right? So from your perspective, how would you think is the best way to figure out that an employee, another colleague or a friend or whatever, how they got it? I like when I stump the guest.
Oh, this one was kind of hard for me to actually answer.
What about you? Okay, so listen, how do you know when you get it?
Well, I would say it was easier for me to answer on an individual level
Okay.
because I say I'm just in love with learning, and
Yes.
it's just something that's personal to me.
Mm-hmm.
On an individual level, learning is just a deep, satisfying fulfillment. Like in my experience, I have been expected, like I said, not to make it because of like past circumstances or in many ways just because of who I am in my life. I
Yep.
have just had such a strong heart and mind I'm determined to strive for excellence in all that I do.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing, just like nothing but the best. It's just what makes me feel strong and rewarding. Additionally to that, it makes me feel good knowing that I rose above everything that was either absent in my life or like things that was potential harmful for me. Importantly, fulfilling my goals and dreams was importance because I was committed to making a life more self-sufficient for my son's future.
Okay. Okay. So you have felt that learning is all about maybe more inclusive. It's like it's about how it affects on an individual level how it affects you, but on
Yeah.
a group level, it's got to be how it makes everything else flow and function and move around me.
Right.
I like
It's
it.
a team. It's a team effort. Like just on a group level, it's all about team. Like I said, from my past work history,
Mhm.
toxic environments is not where it's at. Like being at the University of Louisville, seeing how everybody functions from the student, the diversity, the instructors, you can see how everything flows. And when people work as a team and accordingly, I mean, it's just so beautiful. And that's what leadership is about. That's what leadership is about.
I love it. I love it. I mean, I think you're right. I mean, you're speaking to it. I mean, my research is definitely steeped in what I call or have coined high performance learning teams. I didn't really coin high performance learning teams, but how I define them is a little unique. But I think it's about that too. All right, I struggle on an individual. Like I know when I bring my best. Right. So there's a quote by I think it's attributed to Rich Rodriguez when he was the head football coach at West Virginia University. And the quote goes like, no one knows if you're giving your 100%, but
Mhm.
everybody knows when you're not. Right.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't really know. No one knows if Alyssa's trying really, really, really hard. But when we look at Valissa, we know if she's just like coasting through senioritis at
Right.
15, she's just trying to get this degree and get out of here. Yeah.
Right.
And I agree. And I think sometimes when you have that team, right, they kind of can motivate you, we'll use that term, to kind of get your act together, right? Because
Right.
if it's just left up to you, you're like, oh, I'm almost graduated. Like, hey, listen, whether I get a or a C minus on this course, it don't matter because I'm graduating. But if you got that team around, you can be like, hey, the goal was we getting out of here with great grades. So a C is
Right.
not an option. You know what I mean?
Right.
I agree. So listen, another thing, right? Leadership and marketing expert Seth Godin states that people need less mentors and the more heroes. What do you think of this statement? Talk to me.
This statement right here, it definitely opened my eyes to a different perspective.
So
I
what did you think? What
realized
did you
I
think?
actually,
What did you think when you first saw the question?
well, I thought in my mind, I was like, okay, I've always was looking for mentors. What do you mean heroes, So it definitely is a different perspective for me. And I
Right.
realized that actually I do have many heroes already involved in my life, right? So for example, Priscilla Shire, she
Mm-hmm.
is a motivational speaker.
Yes.
And I love to listen to her podcast. I love to, like, when I'm going on walks, doing self-care for myself, I love to, like, just listen to her just speak.
Right.
She does several motivational sessions where she just speaks to you. And when you hear her speaking, it uplifts your spirit to where you are determined, you're committed, you can't fail. Like you got it. And then
Right.
also the same way with the gospel singers. I have my therapist that I'm going to every week. You have your instructors who's uplifting you, often.
Mhm.
Those are the people that we work, you work closely with, on a daily basis, or, how often that you do work with them, according to your schedule. So
Right.
this is true. So not only should we look for that one coach or that one mentor for us,
Mhm.
however, like looking around at what is already in place and reflect on what you already have, just grow with that.
I love it.
So
You're
I
right.
believe, that the individual should stop and reflect on the heroes already influencing one's life rather than searching for an individual mentor.
But listen, Priscilla Schreier is a unique individual, right? Her
She
dad is Dr.
is.
Her dad is Dr. Tony Evans. She comes from good
Yes.
stock, right? Like you can Google her dad, Dr. Tony Evans. He's got books, Bibles, like whatever, motivational speeches, courses. He's like a motivational Christian guru or whatever. So like the apple didn't fall far from the tree, right? She had
Right.
a great resource
Right.
to pull from. But yeah, Priscilla Schreier, she's in a league of her own. I think her podcast is not as good as this one, but it's really good though. It's really good. It's really good.
I
Her
like that.
podcast is probably a little better than mine, but
I like that.
that's neither here nor there. What I want to get into this, like I said, typically, on the beginning of the podcast, I was saying that typically we talk to alumni and we ask them about, what was it like going through the OLO process or the program, whether it was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 1 year ago, some cases much longer than that. But I want to ask you, since you're in the program, right, tell Cardinal Nation, right, what has your current educational journey been like, knowing that it's almost over, right? So I guess technically you're almost an alumni, but you're not quite there yet. So you're still in the program for a little while longer. We got a little more juice we can squeeze out of you, so we're doing it. But tell us about your educational journey.
Wow, like my educational journey at the University of Louisville, it has been beyond amazing. I started with the OLL program May of 2021, and I will be graduating in May of 2022. Literally a 12-month. I mean, how amazing.
That's
I
moving.
highly recommend any students, anybody listening to this podcast, to get into the OL program ASAP. It is an amazing program. I have received a great amount of knowledge in this program, and it is for sure continuing to grow. I have earned 4 micro credentials thus far in this program. I have also gained substantial groups of wonderful colleagues, advisors, staff, and instructors who are a great, supportive, positive tribe.
Yes, I just want to pause for the cause right there. I need somebody to go tell Dr. Neely Benaputi that we in the OLL program, we are pushing micro credentials. Somebody get Dr. Sharon Carrick and let her know that we are pushing micro credentials in the OLL program and badges. Students are taking them and signing up for them. Okay. Off of that, just want to give that, you know what I'm saying, because I know Dr. Benaputi is very, very big on that, as well as Dr. Sharon Carrick. But so your educational journey, you started a year ago. You're going to finish in a year. You'll be in the program 12 months, barring no mishaps or emergencies or life happens, whatever. And your experience has been wonderful. It's been phenomenal. But let me ask you this, right? Because I mean, you had experiences, you had life happen, you came back to school, you're getting your degree. You're doing some phenomenal things, but there's a million people, literally 1.3 million to be exact. There's 1.3 million adults out there who have some college and no degree. If you could sell them the OLO program, what would you tell them?
The OLL program has definitely been life challenging for my family. I have defined my worth and my value through the Lead 300 portfolio course, where you define, you receive college credit for your prior work history. This can also be people who were in the military. If you had vocational trade, which I received lower level credits for being a cosmetologist for 11 years, which is absolutely amazing.
Nice.
I have received micro credential opportunities. I have also added overall productivity and effectiveness while gaining skills and tools which will help me implement change in the workforce. While graduating from a Research One level university, these positive features will be a great addition to my resume.
Nice. I like it. So, do you think when you walk away, um, from the OLL program at the University of Louisville, and I don't mean walk away as in like you never come back or never, want to be a part of the institution, but kind of when you graduate, when you have the BS OLL, when you go in, when you're back in the workforce and you have these letters, these credentials behind you, these micro credentials, and you're asked to lead. How has this program maybe helped you redefine or even define that inspiration and that motivation and that authenticity that you lead with?
Well, first and foremost, this program, I'm not even kidding you, I have fell in love, like literally fell in love with the University of Louisville, because this program, every single thing that it teaches in the courses is information I wished I had learned prior
Right.
in my work, prior to my work history,
Mm-hmm.
in the past. Like everything that I am learning right now, I was like in these courses, I'm like, oh my gosh, I wished I've known this when I was a document controller. Or, oh my gosh, I wish I'd known this when I was a production coordinator. Like, it's all the information is so critical to the changing work environment that's happening now, and things that will change going forward in the workforce. So everything that like is going on like now and that will be going on forward, like I highly recommend students to get into this program, because it will definitely give you what you need and more. It
Right.
definitely gives you what you need and more. And then not only that, you have such a team. And when I say team, I mean a team of instructors who got your back 100%. The flexibility of the program, the culture of the program, everything about this program is just so absolutely loving and amazing. And I could not have asked for anything better. And I'm so grateful and thankful.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. She just sold the program. If you're out there, one of those 1.3 million adults who have some college and no degree, don't take it. What do they say? What do you say on Reading Rainbow? Don't take my word for it. You just heard Valissa, right? This is not something that we think we just say. It's actually something that we practice and we work hard on. And don't get it wrong, we are not a perfect program. We are humans. We make mistakes and we make, we have mistakes, right? And we need to have lessons learned, and we have meetings and we correct those. But we do everything we can to make sure that each student, right, finds success. It's not always practical. Sometimes it's really hard because like we all are adults, right? I'm not excluding myself from being an adult.
Right.
Like life happens to me,
Right.
life happens to our students. So I think when we say, if you want to learn to lead with compassion, there's a reason we say we start with that when we're selling this program. If you want, because that's not you. Everybody may not want to learn to lead with compassion.
Right.
You want to learn to lead with compassion, empathy, expertise, because we understand life happens, events happen, things happen. And, as an adult, let's be perfectly honest, doing homework at 10 o'clock at night is not always number one on the list, especially if your child is sick or, your parents are ill or, you gotta pull a double shift. And I think I think our faculty are extreme experts in compassion, expertise, empathy, understanding, making it work, and doing everything we possibly can to get you across that finish line so that you can celebrate with your friends and family one day.
Yes. Can I add one more thing?
You can add another thing. Go ahead.
And to add to that, I want to, just from my experience as a student, there are so many resources at the University of Louisville. If you have a disability, you have the Disability Resource Center. If you need a laptop, or if you need some resources as far as academic help, tutoring, you have the REACH program. You have also the Student Success Center. You also have TRIO if you are a disability student, if you are a first generational student, also if you are a low-income student. Come on, we welcome you. Come on, and you have all the resources. You have a team. You have everything you need here to give you what you need to be successful. It's just we will grab your hand and we will pull you through and we will help you get to the finish line. I can guarantee you that.
Listen, you selling the program better than the marketing team. So, I mean, I don't know what else to say. You're probably gonna be in a commercial next week. I don't even know. But listen, Valissa, I've taken up enough of your time. I know you got work to do. I know you got family things to do. I know you got friends things to do. Then you got academic things to do. So before we let you go, there are a few things we like to have fun with all of our guests. So we're going to jump right into rapid fire. Are you ready for rapid fire?
Yes.
Oh, I'm going to have to add that to my rapid fire. Here we go. Rapid fire. Question 1. Are you ready? Here we go. If you could pick one word to describe your life so far, what would it be and why?
Deliverance, because I feel like I've been set free. I have been rescued from so much adversity. The challenges in my life for sure have been tough, lonely, and motivating. In addition to, it has been the challenges that have helped me develop these muscles, okay? So the strong, resilient heart, the mind, and the soul. And like I said, with the Mary, she says in one of her, in the song, if you want to get what you never got, you got to do something that you never done. So go get it. So this has taught me that no matter what you've been through, God promises me that I will overcome and I will win. He did it. He is my creator. So I am blessed to have such a wonderful father.
I love it. Great answer. No one's ever said deliverance is that word, by the way. Again, you're getting another golden nugget. There you go. Ding, 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 ding. All right, this is rapid fire. Number 2 question. What are 3 non-negotiable characteristics that anyone on your team or tribe has to have?
Trust, dependability, and teamwork.
Trust, dependability, and teamwork. Okay, I like those.
Non-negotiable.
Here we go. Non-negotiable. Okay, don't be trying to get around it. Rapid fire. What is your favorite dessert?
New York cheesecake.
Oh, okay. Who has the best New York cheesecake in Louisville?
Oh gosh, you put me on the spot right there. I don't know the Cheesecake Factory. The Cheesecake Factory. I don't know.
Okay. I thought you might want to give some restaurant a shout out. I don't know. Here we go. If you could do your career, all of them all over again, what industry would you have worked in from the beginning and never got out?
A university, because the impact is memorable, life-changing, and so welcoming and unforgettable.
I have a feeling you probably might get a job off from U of L when this is done, but I
hope so. I would definitely take it.
Lord, here we go. Last question, rapid fire. Now, this one is sometimes a little bit emotional, but hopefully you can roll with it.
No, I can roll.
If you could sit with your 13-year-old self, what would you tell her?
You are safe now. You are a strong, God-fearing woman. And I am so proud of you.
Wow. Okay. And that's a great answer. You are safe now. Huh. No one's ever said that one before either. I like it. Okay. So this is my last fun question. I have not changed this question from every episode because I still think it's a phenomenal question. Some of the other questions, they fluctuate, they change. Sometimes we get to them, sometimes we don't. This question has been asked to every guest from President Neely Benapudi, our first guest, all the way down to now in season 2, Valissa White. So this is a very, let's see how it goes.
Oh gosh.
If your life was the title of a book, made up or real, what would it be? And you have to tell Cardinal Nation why.
Okay, I'll go with it from my heart. It will be Deliverance. Deliverance. It will be titled Deliverance, a Strong Heart and Mind. And the reason why is because there have been many times that I could have given up. But it took a strong heart and mind to not take the road that my past generational family members in my family have taken that have led to tragedies such as severe like mental illnesses, death, or sickness. There have also been many recoveries, yet there's ongoing struggles amongst fighting temptations, which is very hard to survive from when you know that like African-American families don't either have the resources or finances to be able to, come out of. So I have also dealt with racial discrimination all my life, which is, very hurt me to my core. So in my experience, I chose the road not taken to experience the positive results. And this was the challenging choice, yet soon to be rewarding road. Due to the challenges, I have become a better person for sure. And additionally, I have grown both personally and professionally while having to mature at a very young age with the decision making in all areas of my life. And that is like me feeling like the deliverance being set free means getting my education. Choosing not to give up on my son when the doctors told me that he would not live through the pregnancy, which my son has special needs. So his health is progressing. I've done a lot of things to get him to be 9 years old now. Growing from all of my traumas, rising from my parents' absences. I found a new support system when I moved to Louisville, Kentucky, which I have the Family Scholar House now. And I moved to a new state where I have new opportunities. I have the support now from a wonderful tribe at the University of Louisville with my instructors, new resources. I mean, I have it all here in Kentucky. So importantly, I feel that the book will be a place for people to be able to explore all of these great adventures that I've been through. And that way I can help encourage, motivate, uplift, and drive other single parents or, people raising special needs children, people that, just need to be uplifted because I did it. I went through so many adversities. I did it. And I have no doubt in my mind that anybody else can do it too.
Cardinal Nation, do you now see why we had to get Valissa on the podcast ASAP, right? We couldn't let another minute, another second, another day go by. So she had to tell her story to get this energy out, to let everybody know if she did it, anybody can do it. And that's not a knock on to say anything about anybody's story. But if you need a cheerleader, I'm telling you, you may want to, maybe that's what we can hire you as a professional.
Yeah, I can be a cheerleader
coach, right? Anyway, okay, so I've taken up enough time of your day, but this is what I want to know. What is your wise counsel that you would shout from the mountaintops that you want everyone to hear as we close out 2021 and as we start moving into 2022?
Never get up, never give up. Hustle and grind.
Never give up. That's it. That's it right there. But listen, let me tell you, you've been a phenomenal guest today. You brought some energy. You even brought some golden nuggets, right? It's some very unique places that I wouldn't even expect. I was like, okay, this is gonna be a common answer. And then like, boom, you be like, I was like, oh, that's not right. I was expecting that. That was, You know what I mean? As you can see, I've taken notes, ladies and gentlemen. I've taken notes. I got a whole page full of notes. We will make sure we do everything and do this podcast right because it's very clear, right? The OLL program, we are about pushing our students to be great. Valissa is no exception. She is exactly what we want of all of our students in the OLL program to experience. A good time, be a part of a good tribe, use that degree and go change the world. It's just that simple. We're going to do everything we can to get you across that finish line so that you can go live the life you want to live. Make as much money as you want. Then you can hopefully come back and be on the podcast and tell Cardinal Nation how they can repeat, be great, and do all that good stuff. Valissa, you've been a phenomenal guest today. I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy, busy schedule.
It's been my honor. Go Card.
Oh, yeah, Cardinal Nation. Take care and stay safe.